The sound you hear is what some experts claim to be a Bigfoot scream. Recorded in the state of Washington by a group of campers in 1971, it is regarded as the highest quality audio of the creature ever captured.
Hello! Welcome to Bigfoot Real Encounters. We're glad to have you stop by. We'd also like to take this time to invite you to share your encounter. You can send your stories to the email bfrealencounters@mail.com, where we will feature your story with all of the respect that it deserves. So send your stories in, bfrealencounters@mail.com. We look forward to hearing from you and your great stories soon. All right, hey everybody, we're back. Welcome back to Bigfoot Real Encounters. Today we have a lot more subscribers than we did during the last video. The channel is doing very well thanks to a lot of new listeners, new subscribers. You folks have been hitting the like button a lot and sharing this, and I really appreciate that. We're finally able to get some stories out to a lot more people and get information out to people, and that's just wonderful. Today we have a couple things going on. We have email in from one of our listeners, and from West Virginia. Once again, it seems to be quite a hot spot in the nation down in West Virginia. And go right ahead here and start right on in. We're gonna entitle this Buck Season, Fayette County, West Virginia. It was November 1996. Buck season here in Fayette County, West by God, Virginia. My uncle from Cleveland, Ohio, came in to hunt deer. We were on Cotton Hill in the Kanawha Valley, just below where Kanawha, New, and Gauley rivers meet. I've hunted this area from the time I was 8 years old. I'm 47 now, but we were in an area that was really thick with deer just prior to season coming in. We hunted until dark that first day, but neither my uncle or myself saw any deer. But from about 7 a.m. until around 9 a.m., I had a feeling that I was being watched. And the area around me was unsettlingly silent. But I could never pinpoint what was causing it. Now, the biggest predator we have is black bear, and I've come across a good bit of them in these woods, but they always run the other way. But as it got dark, I headed back to camp, and my uncle was already there, so we got a fire going. We were discussing the game plan for the next morning when around 9 p.m., up on the ridge above our camp, something called out. It sounded like the recording you have at the beginning of your video. Now, I've heard big cats and coyotes. This thing didn't sound like any of them. Needless to say, the next morning we packed up and found a different area of the mountain to hunt. Thank you, George. Please, if you use my story, leave my last name out. Well, absolutely, George. We will do what our viewers request, and some folks are uncomfortable giving some of these stories out, primarily because people tend to bully people if they come out and tell what actually happened to them. George, I believe you. I've seen them. there are other listeners on here, and I'm sure they'll believe you because they're looking up the subject, and the chances are they've had an encounter of some type also. So that's fine, George. You got your story out. You deserve to be heard. And we'll keep your last name confidential, of course. That's a great story, George. I mean, if I heard that, I would be going the next morning also. I don't even know if I would have waited until the next morning. If you're asking me, I think I would have just grabbed as much as I could. Not even bothered to pack it up nice or nothing. I'd have just tossed things into the whatever vehicle, and I would have made like a baby and had it out. You know what I'm saying? So thanks for sending that in, George. And whenever you guys send in stories, I like to go to the BFRO website. Now, I know that's a little BFRO organization. Some folks like it, some folks don't. But their database is really nice. It's very easy to look up things. It's very easy to read. And there are a lot of stories in there, a lot of reports. And they go by region. They break it down really nice. Now, I've heard stories, I don't know if it's true, that they leave information out of the stories at times. I don't know. But what I read on there makes for great stories. And what I did, George, I looked in your area in West Virginia, in Fayette County, and there were several of them in there. And a couple of them around the same time of year. And I thought I would, excuse me there, go ahead and read some of those because just to validate your story. And I come across one here. Let me see now. This one, I'm gonna shuffle my papers. Oh, there we go. It was back in 1998-1999 season. And it was in Fayette County also. And this person writes, I live in a very rural area in Fayette County, West Virginia, the small community of Rock Lick. As I was surfing your website, I was excited to find actual sound recordings taken in the bordering state of Ohio. Listening to them, I was immediately surprised that the howl from the recordings was very familiar. Many nights, if you're lucky, and it's quiet, you can step out and hear this very unusual howl. It has been heard by my mother and I on several occasions. We always wondered what the sound was, but dismissed it as just something weird. But just days ago, when my mother and I listened to the recordings, we both agreed the howl was what we heard. Every time we hear the howl, it's at night, usually fall or winter, and after 10 or 11 at night. Now, the hollow we live in is very quiet. Never have I seen a creature or have I ever found tracks matching the ones on your website. But I have had friends who have seen strange things that meet your descriptions. But since they're third party, I cannot confirm them. My mother and I will definitely be more watchful of sounds or strange things this fall and winter. The sound we heard was a lot fainter than the recording, but it echoed through the hollow from about a mile or two away. If you knew the local terrain, there are several directions it could have come from, and thousands of undeveloped acres of woods. But it sends chills up your back when you hear it, because it's so unidentifiable. Yes, and I have heard that sound myself in West Virginia. And what can I say? This person described it pretty much just what I heard. I was in the smoke hole area. I've relayed this story on one of my other videos. And these stories are the evidence. These stories have been around for generations. They are proof We take people at their word. The Native Americans talked about these beings. They considered them a race of people. And, well, the Native Americans knew an animal from a person. They were very, very great hunters. So they knew the difference. And they knew about them. They told their children about them. And today, our society has forgotten about them. And we need to educate our children about them. I say this on every video. They're out there. We need to educate our folks about them and give out the information, because we do come across them. I understand that many of the Native Americans, when they come across them, they hold their hands out to show they have nothing in their hands, and they just gently speak to them and walk away. I've heard stories where the folks would be berry picking or mushroom hunting, and they would leave it as a gift for the Bigfoot and walk away. And these people didn't have problems with them. So we do need to learn something from them. So great story, George. We really appreciate you sending in. That took some time to do that, and courage on your part, I'm sure, because folks that don't understand and don't have the information that we have about them, they don't believe it. So they tend to make fun of folks. But we'll get the information out, and people will start taking it seriously. Now, before we get to our last story here, I want to take time out to say, please like, share, and subscribe the videos. I'm trying to grow the channel so that these stories can get out, so that you can be heard and your stories can reach others. Okay, now every time you like it, the more chance that YouTube algorithm is going to pick that up and put it in a suggested feed. The less likes, the less likelihood, pun intended, that they're going to suggest the videos. So please hit the like button. Well, if you like it, I'm assuming that you like it. You better like it. No, I'm just kidding. But go right ahead and like, share, send it around to your friends, and do subscribe. We're growing very rapidly. The last video I had, we had less than 100 subscribers. As of right now, I've got over 350 subscribers. So we're moving along pretty good. Thank you very much. All right. I got one more from the same area. We'll just go ahead and stick with West Virginia and narrow it down to Fayette County, I suppose. Now this one here, let me see, back in 2013 in Fayette County. I also got this from the BFRO website, which is public domain. They put those up there. So let me read here. Okay. Now this person writes, about a week ago, my dog was making a strange noise, like he was playing around 12 at night. I called my friend who lives on the property to meet me outside. We went up the hill to my dog pen, and he was acting as if he was playing, all happy, running around and looking behind him. We shined our lights up the hill and saw a rather large figure, about 7 to 8 feet tall and rather thick, step back into the darkness and disappear. It scared us and we ran. We have been hearing sounds every night. Last night we went out around 1 a.m. To do knocks and yells. Something growled back. Not like a bear, and was very close and kept following us. My dog is still doing the same thing every night, and my cats refuse to stay out at night. Before this started, they wouldn't come in. We are on the side of a mountain with about 2,000 hunting lease acres behind us. Neighbors about a third of a mile away. We're on a dead-end road with lots of animals and very secluded. Deer walk around in our yard most days before this started. and we regularly see 4 bears here. It's very thick here and could hide lots of other animals. Also, every night you can hear something pacing the ridge watching us. Wow, now that's scary. And if I might let all of you know, people like to go out and whack on the trees and yell into the middle of the night. They get that idea from some of those TV shows. I don't particularly wish to do that because we don't know what message we are sending. We don't know if that's a threat. We don't know if it's a challenge. We don't know if it's a come on into dinner. And then they show up and we got nothing. I mean, it might not be wise to do such things, okay? Now, these people did that, and something kind of growled at them. And from the story, they didn't say it growled at them before they did that. So maybe it might not be a good idea to do such things. Sometimes copying a TV show might not be in your best interest. That's why it's important that we get these stories and these encounters out and the information to other people. We know that these beings, from all reports, they have personalities, they have emotions, they have different demeanors, apparently just like the population of humans. And that makes me think maybe they have their own outcasts and criminals and unruly ones, and who knows, dangerous ones. So we probably should take caution. We would take caution of bears around. We need to take caution if we believe that Bigfoot or Sasquatch is around. Okay, folks? And let's get this information out to other people. Like I said, this is the proof. It's been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years, word of mouth. There's too many people over too many years talking about the same things that they've never taught to each other. Today, people say, well, they just heard about it on the internet. Okay, maybe so. And maybe some folks are out there doing just what you said. But what about the people 100 years ago who lived 100 miles apart, never met each other, and they described the same things? Now this has happened, and on different continents as well. So they didn't have the internet, they didn't have news reports, and they probably didn't read a newspaper article about it, but they did describe the same thing. So these things have been around for a while, so have the stories. That is our proof, as well as there is other proof also, tracking proof. I mean, we use tracking for every other kind of animal. Oh yeah, a panther was through here. That's a raccoon, that's a deer. But if you see a Bigfoot footprint, that's not what that is. Oh really? You use that method for every other creature except one. That's unscientific. Okay, folks? So these things are around. You people have seen them. You're sending in these great stories. I really appreciate it. George, you sent in that story. I appreciate you sending that in. And I found a couple more to back you up, brother. And looking forward to the next story that somebody sends in. Be safe out there, folks. We'll see you in the next one. Once again, another great story. Thanks for tuning in. Please share your encounter. Email us, bfrealencounters@mail.com. Your story is very important. We will treat it with the respect that it deserves. Also, be sure to smash the like button, share, and subscribe. Thanks once again. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Watch out for our next video. Maybe we'll feature yours. Have a great day.